Receiver, it's Anthony Torres with a catch. Tyler runs the wheel. Anthony Torres lays out, and did he make the catch? He did.
Wow. 2nd and 17. You're not expecting this. Torres and French, top of your screen. The tackle. Oh, Torres. Don't do him like that, Torres. What a block by Torres on Patterson.
Welcome to Mind Academy Sports, where we help athletes learn the connection between their mind and performance. We are here with Anthony Torres, and he is the starting tight end for Western Michigan University. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I just want to ask a few questions about how it felt going through the process of mind training or mental training before you actually hit competition. But before I do that, I kind of want to figure out how you felt last year when you were actually in the game.
So last year was kind of a weird season, being COVID.
Right.
It was a 6-game season. And for me, this was going to be my first season really playing. My freshman year, I redshirted. Sophomore year, I had a injury that took me out of the season. And so this year was my first year playing. So going into it, I was kind of anxious in a way. And I had that fear of failure because I felt like this is my first chance of actually like proving myself, so I couldn't mess up. And out there playing, I just felt like I was not being myself. I was being robotic, trying to just be perfect rather than playing the game. So last year it was just difficult for me to like really be comfortable out there.
So how does it feel when you're robotic? Does it feel like you can't naturally do what you're supposed to do and just go out there and play the game?
Yeah, I couldn't just be myself and play who I was. And I was in a different role than I'm used to being in. I played a role where I was blocking a lot more. And I feel like my biggest strength is I can be a threat in the pass game. But with that being said, I had to learn how to adapt to that situation. So for me, I just thought too much about the process, really.
Right. So since you have been through the process and a little bit of mental training, tell me how it was as you step on the field. You're going against Michigan, you're going against potential first round picks and things like that. Tell me how it's been since then.
Going into Michigan, that was the first game of the season. And it happens to be that the first game of the season, I'm also playing a potential first round draft pick and top 5 pick at that. So going into that game, yes, I was nervous because obviously it's the first game of the season. It's like a huge game for us. But secondly, I was nervous, but in a good way. Like before, I'd be nervous and be doubting myself. But this year I was like a calm nervous, like the calm before the storm type of thing. I was confident. I had the mindset of like I'm just going to go out there and play. I'm not thinking about performance. I'm thinking about just going out there and playing and having fun, regardless of what happens. I mean, in any type of game, you're going to make mistakes, right, and mess up. But it's a matter of just like working past those mistakes and not thinking too much about it and not thinking too much about being perfect in performance, but really just living in the moment. And that's one thing that really helped me was learning to kind of just be present in the moment rather than focus on the future or focus on what happened in the play before. So that's where I took my biggest step after going through the process of mental training and unlocking parts of my mind that were kind of just dormant.
Right. Oh, unlocking parts of your mind that was dormant. That's a huge statement. Tell me about how your body felt like fluidity. Did you feel like you were that you could get into flow easier or something like that?
Definitely. And as the season went on, I felt that after we did another session, I felt like things were really starting to click. I felt like I was playing like myself. I went from a year last year where I had 0 targets and 0 catches to a year where I've had 12 catches, over 130 yards. So just production wise, when I wasn't even focused on that, I was just focused on playing and having fun. But that stuff comes naturally when you just kind of be present and be in the moment. So
Right.
when you can really play like yourself, that's when good things start to happen. And I think that's where athletes fail, is they don't play as themselves. They try to be somebody they're not, or they're thinking
Come
too
on.
much about it. And so when you can play as yourself, that's when you get the best in players and in teams at that.
Yeah, you mentioned a good point there. One thing I always like to say is performance equals potential minus interference. So the interference, the mental interference that we have in our mind keeps us from being ourselves.
Right,
and it holds back the potential that's deep down inside every single athlete. And here's the thing: in order to do what you do, in order to do what many people have done, right? You need a certain level of ego to actually get out there to go against a defensive end that's D1 or first round draft pick or whatever. You have to have that ego.
Right.
But here's the thing: we let our ego stop us from mentally training. So the interference is there. And now we have all this potential we haven't tapped into. So my question to ask you is, do you think teams are missing out on this, and could they collectively use this to actually increase their chances to win and to have success as far as the season goes?
Yes, I think individually it is great. And as a team, it's even better, because if every person is clicking and they're all on the same page and just playing, then that team is going to be much more successful. I felt individual success just from the training that I did with you personally. But I think if all 22 starters on offense and defense came together and did mental training, or the whole team at that did a mental training and went through the process, I think the team itself would be successful. So I don't think it's just I don't think it's just individualized. I mean, maybe the training aspect of it, like connecting it to yourself, is different, but overall, if you can unlock that potential in everybody to overcome mental barriers, I think a team would be much, much better and much more successful. Coach included too. I'm serious. I'm serious though. Like, even from a coaching standpoint, you know, sometimes there's doubts about play calls or making decisions, but if you have that confidence, I don't think
you got to be able to steel yourself in the midst of pressure too, you know?
Right, like, exactly.
Calm down, make it, Football, sports, period, is a game of inches, man. So you could be a tight end making plays your whole game, but then the wide receiver that's out there, you need him to make a play in the last minute of the game. If he ain't did no mental training or study tape or did whatever, now you out on the limb. So everything works together.
Right.
I want to say before I leave that this process worked because of your level of humility, man, your ability to receive information, and always say that the ego is the enemy. So when you can take your ego out the way, you can truly reach your potential. So